Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is kind of walk you through the steps that you would need to take in order to have your students go on a virtual field trip using Google Expeditions. Excuse me. First thing you're going to do is the teacher is going to download the Google Expeditions onto their device. The second step is for the teacher to open up that app, and there's two options on the app at the very top. One that says to be a leader, and the one that says, excuse me, a guide or to be a follower. So 5 steps. So students then are going to download their version of the Expeditions app onto their devices. And then students are going to place their device inside the headset and put them on. And the teacher leads the student through the expeditions by reading through the descriptions and asking them questions. So what happens is when you push that thing up, this element right here, underneath it there is a description of what students are looking at, and that you can read that out loud to students, and then there's questions that appear. And then within each individual scene, you have the ability to push their eyes, and they see an arrow in their headsets that pushes and tells them to look at a particular object within that scene. And then when you're done with that scene, you can flip and go to the next scene. And then there's a similar kind of setup. Okay, so from the student from the student view, they're going to have the two options where it says lead and follow. You could be a guide or you could be an explorer. So you hit on lead, and they hit on follow, and they'll see that you'll see that there's a number of students that have appeared within your particular classroom. So the student view, when they hit follow, they'll see that there is the person, the teacher, who in this case was named Amy DeMarco, and she has 0 explorers. As you get more people, you'll have more explorers. From the teacher view, you'll look through the app and you'll click on that heart, and then eventually they'll be able to follow you. You'll have to download the individual expedition before you start the expedition. All right, so the student view is that it'll look like this, and the teacher, when they're actually within the app, the student view will look like this, and the teacher view will look like that. One thing I would very much suggest is that you have to have both the teacher and the student on the same network. So the way to accomplish that is for everyone to be on the BYOD network. If they're using their own personal network, this expedition will not work, because what happens is the two need to be on the same exact BYOD so the teacher can control what the students see within their headset, which is this image right here. It says ready, and then when the teacher hits play, that play button right there, everything starts. And then the student view looks like this. They see a stereoscopic vision, but it will look 3D, and they'll be able to look all around in 360 degrees. And the teacher will see this. What they're seeing behind the set of questions on their phone is what, like a part of what the students will actually see. And you can actually move with your finger. You can see the 360 view that they would see in their headsets at the same time that you could look at their questions. If you push this element up, which was down there at the bottom, then you could read the actual statement, and then there are a series of questions. And then below those series of questions, there are different elements within the scene. And those are kind of like the crosshairs right there. And then they get an arrow on their view, and then when they get to the right spot where they're supposed to be, that's what they look at, and they can see, oh, I'm looking at the ascending aorta, as an example. Those smiling faces show you that there are a number, like that represents one student that's looking at the thing that you want them to look at. And then you could toggle between, as a student, you could toggle between the VR mode and the regular mode. So let's say you've got not enough headsets for every single kid, or there's a kid who doesn't like putting the headsets on for whatever reason. It could be that they get a little bit dizzy from it, or just feel disoriented, or for whatever reason. The student can toggle between the VR mode, which would be which would like really is that. So when they're in this non-VR mode, they click on this, they'll go to that, and when they click on this, they go to that. So this is like full screen, and that's the VR mode. So when you're in VR mode, they show you how to get back to full screen, and when they're in full screen mode, they show you how to get back to the VR mode. This is a video that kind of shows it, what I just described. Okay, so there are some apps that you can use that allow for you to actually go on these kinds of expeditions, but actually they're not expeditions, they're just other apps. So one of those apps is that Let's Go to Egypt app, and there's a way within the app, for example, that you can click on the VR mode in the corner, in the top right hand corner right there, and then the download the content will download. This is available on Google Play Store, and it gives you a sense of you have the ability to kind of walk around within Egypt. One thing I really just suggest is that generally go into the Google Play Store, go into the iTunes Store, and type in cardboard, or even just type in VR, and see what you get. Maybe there are some apps that relate to what you're interested in looking at. By the way, you could see there in the previous one that there was the Titans of Space app, which I really think is amazing. I mean, if you were thinking about doing something with astronomy, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. That's such a cool app. A lot of apps out there that are available that will actually be able to allow you to do VR. You might want to just check to make sure that it's available in both Play Stores. So both in the iTunes Play Store and also in the Google Play Store. Because I don't think there's too many students that are on another operating system than those two. Okay, so I hope you guys had a good time in exploring the VR. If you have already taken a look at VR in the first session, I hope that you guys had a good experience. And if you have not, stay tuned. You're going to have a really good time. One thing I'm going to do is I'll put in the description of this particular YouTube video the link to this presentation, because there are so many links contained within the presentation that you might find that you want to go back to and take a look at. Thank you very much.